World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Senna was a god. No one could even dream to follow him.
I'm from a very humble background.
The role of women at that time were really difficult.
This is so dangerous. You are risking not only your life, but also my life.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Einen wunderschönen guten Abend und herzlich willkommen bei World Pro Racing. Heute Nacht, Freitagnacht, und jetzt ist es DTM Fridays. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to World Pro Racing for the first R-Factor 2 casual racing quite a while. We've been rather busy at our headquarters in Malta with our state-of-the-art facility now up and running, and finally we can get on to brass tacks, which is bringing you action here as much as we can on World Pro Racing, as we are broadcasting live on TVM Sports in Malta, the Esports television network, and of course motorsport.tv. A big thank you as always to our partners Thrustmaster, GTM Mega Racing, HyperX, where we're all gamers, AMD, and Gaming Malta. My name's Alex Goldschmidt, good to be back with you once more, and this very evening we bring the roar of the Deutsche Tourenwagen Masters to you tonight from one of the most iconic German circuits known around the globe, the Hockenheim Ring, 4.574 kilometers, and we're going to be running in the car that could have been the 2022 Class 1 BMW Challenger had the Class 1 era not unfortunately fallen on deaf ears after 2 seasons. So it will be the current generation, the G80 M4 DTM, which produces around about 580 brake horsepower from its 2-litre inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. We've got a 30-minute practice session, a 15-minute qualifying session, and then it's 20 laps around the circuit, which would last just around about 30 minutes. But what's more, the added caveat is that we will have a rolling start. So it will be IndyCar style, going across the line and into the Nordkette. Of course, don't forget to follow us on all the relevant social media channels at World Pro Racing on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You can also, if you are watching on YouTube, I know that there are a few of you watching there at the moment. I think 14 according to my records at the moment, and several people have already liked. So if you are watching on the YouTube channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe whilst you're at it as well. And hopefully you can bring a few more friends along to the party, so don't forget to share this link on social media. So the Hockenheim Ring has been around since March of 1932, so this year, well, this year coming, next March, we'll see its 90th anniversary. It's also hosted the likes of the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series, the FIA World Rallycross Championship, the German Grand Prix. If anyone might remember when Sebastian Vettel was running with Ferrari, went off at the infamous Sachs Curve. Yes, we have got that corner on this track here tonight. But the vehicles that they will be driving is the M4 Class 1 DTM car, a new mod brought to R-Factor 2. It's going to provide a lot of racing this evening. So very shortly, let's see if we can go trackside to the Hockenheim Ring for our free practice, which is lasting for 30 minutes. And there we go. Drivers are out on circuit. A very aggressive looking vehicle in its own right, and there is carbon ceramic brakes as per the specification from what the previous car was. And Rui Silva Vieira running in the number 1 car. Well, he's running in the number 4, it looks like. He's currently P1 at the moment on a 1:32.191. We've got Christian Sharp from RDS Motorsport also joining us here this evening. David Ohak, a regular here, Kirsten Abaya. It looks like we've got 15 of these wonderful BMW M4s out here tonight. So we've got the likes of Alex Trahorn. We've also got Dennis Behrens from Racing Dad. As Rui Silva Vieira heads towards the Spitzkehre, also commonly known to you and I as the hairpin. Blasts out, up a couple of gears into the next sweeping right-hander. And the roar of that 2-litre inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine roaring around the circuit. Marco Wittmann, funny enough, the 2-time DTM champion in 2014 and 2016, would be the first ever pole sitter in a Class 1 car for BMW, and that was on the previous generation. As as there is a yellow out in Sector 1. But the top three rounded out by Ruiz Silva Vieira, Christian Sharp and David Orhat, covered by just over 0.13 of a second. Another yellow out in Sector number 1 as Ruiz Silva Vieira comes out of the Sudkurva. Oh, completely sideways and then decides to escape. Here's Christian Sharp, up by a tenth. He's gone purple, running in that lovely BMW Motorsport livery with the black, red and blue. So he's up by a tenth in Sector 1. And he's done a personal best in Sector 2. Runs a little bit wide through the corner there. That will have been the Mobile 1 curve. Through into Sachs curve. Applies the power. They are a bit of a handful, these Class 1 beasts. Through into the first of two right-handers. Willie Pip, Ruiz Silva Vieira to pole position. Well, to top of the timesheets in this session. I'm getting a bit of ahead of myself. And he goes across the line. 1 minute 31.986. And gaps. And look at the commitment. He just sent it through Nordkurve like he was not even blinking. That is commitment from Christian Sharp right there. So, and he has a bit of a moment going through the Einfahrt Parabolica. David Orhak opting for a bit of more of a lighter blue, a bit of a more of a turquoise blue there. Running in the number 5 car. We've got Silver Pyramids from Estonia. Kirsten Abaya from GTM Mega RPM Esports is in there. Joao Carapau, Steve Johnson. We've also got, what else have we got here tonight? Max Carrion from Slipstreamers, currently rounding out the top 9. And then Doug Oost, also from Racing Dad, along with Dennis Berenz and Joao Carapau. 3 drivers from Racing Dad, and you can add Alexandra Goncalves, who is currently P4 at the moment. Steve Johnson, currently on an outlap. I have been waiting for a DTM mod to hit R Factor 2. There is currently one on Race Room at the moment. Which, now up until 2019, when Class 1, after so much political wrestling behind the scenes, came into force in 2019, the DTM ran under a naturally aspirated 4-litre V8 type of homologation, with Mercedes, Audi and BMW being the 3 luxury brands. And I still remember when in 2013 BMW came back after a what was pretty much a 2-decade absence, and well, it was 2012, so nearly after 2 decades, they came back and took the teams, the manufacturers, and the driver's crown all in the same season. The driver that won the title that year, Bruno Spengler. Then in 2013, it was Mike Rockenfeller. Marco Wittmann took the title in 2014 and 2016. Pascal Wehrlein his more than his fair share of titles. I think, if memory serves me correctly, 2017, 2018 it was Gary Paffett, who is the only, well, there's 2 Brits that have won the title. Well, the second one is a Scotsman, Paul di Resta, back in 2010. Gary Paffett won it in 2000 and, oh, I'm trying to remember the first year. God, I should know this. But Gary Paffett won the title twice. 2018 was the last time he won it. Then Rast won it in 2019 and 2020. Kirsten Abaya, running at the top 12 at the moment, is a few seconds, well, a couple of seconds off the pace, as Dennis Berenz goes up into P4, but it is still Christian Sharp from RDS Motorsport that has got the handle on this BMW. Kirsten Abaya, you can see him lighting up the rear tyres. It sort of squirms from back to, well, from left to right, coming out of the Spitzkar into the next right, and then hard on the brakes into the left-hander, and oops-a-daisy, he decides to go good old Munich sideways there on us, but he manages to claw it back together. He was personal best, and he decides to think that discretion is the better part of valour there. Alex Trahorn who is in 6th position. Yellow out in Sector 1 again. The drivers are finding the limits of not just the car itself, but also themselves in the meantime. And we do have, I do have live timing at my disposal at the minute. And it's going to be rather interesting over the next few moments. Well, the next 21 and a half minutes. So at the moment, Christian Sharp is the quickest out there, 1 minute 31.986. Luis Silva Vallera, 1 minute 32.191. Then it goes to David Ohak, Dennis Berens, Alex Goncalves, Alex Trehorn, Stephen Johnson, Joao Carapau, Max Carrion, and Dirk Oost rounding out. So it looks like we've got Daniele Donofrio joining the party as well. So he's currently out. Highest speed recorded in this session so far. 286 kilometers an hour. That's over 170 mph. So Silva Pirmets, Joao Carapau and Alex Goncalves, the fastest drivers out there in terms of top speed. Goncalves currently on an outlap at the moment. So, for those watching at home, wherever you are, thank you very much for joining us here at World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real. Don't forget, if you do want to get involved with us here at World Pro Racing on any of the events that we've got coming up, such as the HyperX Open Series, there'll be more casual races to come, maybe even more championships to come in the meantime. Don't forget to head to worldproracing.com for further information. As Alex Trehorn sets a personal best and stays at the moment in P6 behind Alex Goncalves. Here's Dirk Oost in. Now the thing is that with the mod, the drivers have got a limited amount of liveries to go by. So what is available on the mod for R Factor 2? Yellow in Sector 2 there. It's Colin Foster is also out. He's currently in 13th position, a yellow out in Sector 1 as Dirk Oost goes rally crossing. If it was an Audi, he'd definitely be in good company because he'd be alongside Ken Block on that one, who's recently been signed to the brand of the Four Rings, as Dirk Oost again goes wide and decides to abort that lap. So into the second, third of this 30-minute practice session. It will be a 15-minute qualifying session here at the Hockenheim Ring. 4.574 kilometers. A total of 17 turns all in all. Very deceptive. Yellow in Sector 2 because there was a car going slowly. And also Colin Foster took part in the Malta GT3 National Championship with the likes of Mikael Mercier, who took the title a few weeks ago. So good to hear that Colin is getting back on board with sim racing. He's got a little bit of time to find tonight, let's be completely honest, but this is a new car. This is going to feel fairly alien to a lot of the drivers, but expect this one to do the rounds a bit. Because I'll be completely honest with you, I started reporting on the DTM back in 2012 and I finished my reporting duties on the DTM back last year. And yellow in Sector 1 once again. But it is closing up a little bit. Oh, Luis Silva Vallera has come alive in the first sector, 20.003 as Alex Trehorn definitely exceeds track limits right there through the Nord curve. Luis Silva Vallera drops time in sectors 2 and 3 and he does a Trehorn. That's track limits, ladies and gentlemen. But Colin Foster, his best effort so far. He's done a 1 minute 39.234. Luis Silva Vallera trying to handle the back end of that car as he's now going through the Parabolica. It's a bit like a straightaway. You gather speed. I'd like to see an onboard actually from behind the wheel of one of these cars because it must be rather interesting. And see how the drivers are reacting, if we can. But Luis Silva Vallera, 4,000s up in Sector 1, goes purple. Now into the next right-hander. I've just been informed by our broadcast team, as always, Justin and Nathan Mifsud, over at the facility in Malta. On balls, not just yet. Oh, they're keeping me waiting, are they? Boys, what are you doing? Yellow out in Sector 2, as we have just under 17 minutes of this session still to go. Ruiz Silva Vallera loses time in Sector 2, and he's got to get it nailed here through the Sachs curve. Down the gearbox, probably into around about second gear. Just coaxing the car through, not putting the power down early. Now into the Sud curve. Out through the final right-hand corner. Yellow out in Sector 2. Will this be an improvement? As it thunders across the line. No, not on that particular occasion. He loses nearly 6/10. He was 6/10 down on Christian Sharp. He still holds the fastest lap time. Alex Goncalves out on an outlap through the Parabolica into the Spitzkehre. You can just see when they're trying to put down the power, it is difficult to do with no... and there was one in the background there. I'm wondering who that was. Odin Samut, running at the top 13, is there or thereabouts. Top 10 rounded out by Max Carrion, covered by just 2.3 seconds. Christian Sharp on another outlap, as there's another yellow out in Sector 2. These cars are testing the drivers. And another yellow out in rapid succession. David Ohak has improved and has put in a 1 minute 32.229. Goes to within 39 thousandths. And that's the third successive yellow in Sector 2 as Christian Sharp ends up going wide coming out of the Sud curve. And that's the reason why there was a car spun round the other way. That would have been possibly going out of the Spitzkehre and into the next right-hander. Silva Pirmets, fastest of anybody in sector number 2. The Estonian hit puts on the anchors. And it's the 2-litre inline turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. Goes up the rev range and up through the gears. Silva Pirmets, currently P9 at the moment. Oh! That's not where you want to lose it, and he's flat spotted the tyres and smacked the barriers at the same time. Well, Silva Pirmets, that's 9.5 for style. I don't know if I can give points for the other bit. But it is getting closer between the top 6, which is rounded out by João Carapau. 0.441 seconds covers the top 6 as we head into the last 14 minutes of this session. A yellow out in Sector 1. As that's committed from Dirk Oost. There's João Carapau. So he's running with the white, blue and red of BMW Motorsport. Also there's a few flecks of black in that livery. And he's on a hot lap at the moment through Nordkurve. Goes very, very wide coming out of Nordkurve. Yellow out in Sector 1, so he's going to have to slightly relinquish that speed a little bit and decides, oh, well, I'm going to take a wide line through there. So that's the Einfahrt Parabolica. Odin Samut coming out of the pits and has someone right on his 6 and flies all the way past. Donofrio has yet to set a respective lap time. Colin Foster's gotten quicker, by the way. 1 minute 37.760. But the driver that has done the most laps in this practice session, we're already close to 30 laps for Ruiz Silva Vallera. There you can see a shot of the Spitzkehre, which is off of the Parabolica. Some of the drivers neatly negotiating their way through it. The yellow out in Sector 1 again. It seems like Nordkurve and Einfahrt Parabolica, which are basically turns 1, 2 and 3, well 3 and 4 actually, because this is a 17 corner track, are definitely making mincemeat of the tyres and also of the drivers' skill levels at the moment, because it's not easy out there. Ruiz Silva Vallera is currently on an outlap. Looks like Silva Pyramids and Max Carrion have opted to stay in pit lane. They currently sit in the top 11. Odin Samet trying to wrestle with his car at the minute. And oh! Goes spinning and instantly hits the escape button. Steve Johnson up in sector 2. Personal best from him. And puts in a 1 minute 33.591. But Steve Johnson's lap time, his best lap time, was nearly 2/10 quicker. And Odin Samet, also new to sim racing, and is also one of another driver that is at the facility that has had a lot of investment put in at World Pro Racing in Malta. So Steve Johnson was half a second down in sector 1 as he makes his way towards the Spitzkehrer. You can see it again as Steve Johnson goes into the braking zone. Turns in, rotates the car, runs a little bit wide coming out of it, puts the power down. That's how you negotiate the hairpin here at the Hockenheim ring. Now into the sweeping right-hander. Into the next left, hard on the brakes. Oh, wants to snap at the tail end. He goes through this very fast S-bend section. Now into Mobile 1, into the right-hander. Lift off, drop a gear. Yellow ants in sector 1. So Steve Johnson looks... Sometimes if they say the lap is looking slow, it's normally fast, but Steve Johnson's sector times state otherwise. Half a second down in sector 1, 8/10 down in sector 2. He's currently sitting in P10 at the moment. Qualifying will be up next for 15 minutes, and then we'll have a 20-minute lap race, a 20-lap race with a rolling start. Yellow ants in sector 1 again. Steve Johnson consistently running in the 1:33.9s. There's Joao Garapau. His best time has put him 6th at the moment, 1 minute 32.427. No other driver apart from Christian Sharp has gone into the 1:31s, and it's the high 1:31s at that. So drivers understanding. So the ambient temperature is 29 degrees Celsius. So, Joao Garapau lights up the rears, coming out of the Spitzkehrer. Decides to abort that lap. Steve Johnson, coming out of the Spitzkehrer. Now into the next right-hand sweeper. Glorious noise from that inline 4-pot turbocharged engine. This is coming through the S's. So this will be, I think, Steve Johnson coming through. Oh, look at that. Look at that camera capture. Nice job there by Justin and Nathan Mifsud at our facility. I think probably Nathan Vella is also there as well. Steve Johnson. I think he's might be doing a race simulation here. That'd be quite interesting. Yellow ants in sector 2 once again. So Steve Johnson for the last couple of laps has been running in the 1:33.5s or so, 1:34.9 on that particular occasion. And oh, that's gonna hurt! Oh, right, and smack into the barriers. I know we've gone all Germanic tonight, but I think a little bit less of the reckless abandon for trying to push the limits and trying to go into the barriers like Steve Johnson did there. We've had him, we've had Silva Pyramids go in. Here's Max Carrion, Yellow Ants in sector 1 again. So that could probably be for Steve Johnson's incident. And Carrion sets a personal best in sector 2 of 43.161. It's not bad, it's not that far off of Ruiz Silva Vallera in the meantime. Has gone sub 20 seconds in the first sector. And there we go through the this lovely S-bend section, which brings them into the last couple of corners of the Sudkurve. Max Carrion, can he jump up into the top 10 in free practice? Not quite. His best effort of 1 minute 34.286, but then that is effectively 9/10 off Stephen Johnson, who continues to run at the top 10. But Ruiz Silva Vallera has gotten to within 67 thousandths of the 1 minute 32 second bracket. Dennis Berens, who Rounds out the top 4, less than half a second under the best first sector of anybody in this race. Well, in this practice session. Nips the sausage curve there, but it helps to rotate the car through the corners. And now the run up to Mobile 1. Down by a considerable margin there as well. Kirsten Abai just put in a personal best. 1 minute 32.960. So puts the top 8 within a second of each other. The closest gap is Ruiz Silva Vallera, 81 thousandths slower than Christian Sharp. So we're into the last 6 minutes of this session. Dennis Perens puts in a 1 minute 33.627. His best lap time so far is nearly 1.3 seconds quicker than that as he goes on to another lap. So I would imagine, and yeah, as I say that, he just drifts it sideways and decides, whoopsie. So all that momentum thrown away like the snap of her fingers. And Berens will just get a little bit of space and then bring it back up to speed. Yellow outs in sector 1. Kirsten Abaya. And again, another yellow out in sector 1. These BMW M4s are a handful. We've seen multiple times in this session so far as we're into the last sixth of it. We're into the last 5 minutes. And Christian Sharp, who is, I think, still sitting in the pits as... Whoa, Abaya went wide and then some. It was exit stage left, more likely. Oh, now we've had a change. Alex Trahorn up into P3. A 1 minute 32.198. And he did a personal best in Sector 2 and Sector 3. So that now means that Trahorn was just 0.212 off and pipped David Ohak to 3rd place in this session. There's still 4.5 minutes of it to go. So never say never. So Trahorn, nearly a quarter of a second down in Sector 1. Out of the Spitzkehrer. Through into the next right. He didn't lift there. Didn't lift there at all, did Alex Trahorn. Goes a little bit wider out of that left-hander there to try and carry the speed through. Not hit the inside sausage curve because that can unsettle the back of the car. He's up by 0.2 in Sector 2. Alex Trahorn is gunning for Christian Sharp. The warning shots in free practice have been thrown. So Alex Trahorn with an absolutely mighty 42.574 Sector 2. Could he be on course of besting Christian Sharp's lap time if he's not going to go... Well, if he doesn't go over the sausage curves like that. No, he doesn't. Well held, Alex Trahorn. Managed to get that thing back into the pits, but oh my goodness. Clean up on aisle 3, anyone? That was absolutely brilliant. He was on such a great lap there, was Alex Trahorn. He was 0.2 up on anybody. He went purple in Sector 2. I think he could have been on course to either slightly pipping. I think he was probably on course to beating Christian Sharp's lap time. And I'm just sort of having a little look back. He just lost it. He put the power down, and luckily enough, the trajectory was good enough to put him into the pits. Yellow out in sector number 1 once again. So we do have Darrell Russell, who's now joining us. So has not taken any hasn't taken any participation in this session. Again, we're seeing top speeds hitting anywhere between 257 by Daniele Donofrio. Darrell Russell's now on an outlap. As well, David Ohak nearly gets a scare there. Whoops, that would have been a clean up on aisle 5. the BMW that just came out of the pit lane and gave David Ohak a fright. As Ohak's just gone purple in Sector 1, 19.955 seconds. He's got some traffic just coming up ahead as he's going to head towards the Spitzkehre. The back marker gets out of the driver in front gets out of the way, and I would think the next one should do, as long as they don't stick the tail out like that. David Ohak is not going to be happy about that one, because that was a pretty good lap. He was a 10th up and he aborts it. No surprise there then. Oh well. Brings out the yellow in Sector 2. Odin Summit. Also, he was doing a Timo Scheider from a couple of years ago when Scheider took Timo Glock rallycrossing. Funny enough, at this very circuit, because DTM and World Rallycross were on at the same point. So Alex Trehorn, let's see if he can do what he did last time, but not stuff it coming out of the Sudkurve. Right, into Nordkurve we go. That's well and truly committed. Nice little run over the curbs there. Into the Einfahrt Parabolika. So let's stick with Trehorn for the moment. Nice and cleanly done through the first part. Into the left-hander. And now, put down the power. Accelerates all the way up to 6th gear. Pushing around about 280 or so kilometres an hour. We'll get an indication when he's on his way to Mobile 1 how good the lap time is, as someone's in the barriers off of Spitzkehre and starts pirouetting. So Trehorn now heading into the next right-hander. We've got 25 on the clock to go, but Christian Sharp is the quickest one out there, and Alex Trehorn aborts the lap and decides, well, I'm going to call it quits. Stephen Johnson crosses the line with about 12 seconds to go. There really has been... I think Alex Trehorn was the one that was going to be rather close to anybody, but checkered flag is out for the session. Stephen Johnson makes his way through the Parabolika. So I think we're just waiting for the final few cars to make their way through. Daniele Donofrio looks to be on an out lap. Colin Foster has just crossed the line again, I think, and has gotten to within 3.6 seconds of Christian Sharp. That looks to be it. Session is over, and Christian Sharp puts it top of the timesheets. Only driver to go sub 1 minute 32. Alex Trehorn and Rui Silva Vieira were very, very close to doing so, but it was not enough. And hopefully very soon we will be going trackside for our 15 minutes qualifying session. A big thank you as always to everyone watching, if you are on Facebook Live, on Twitch, as well as the relevant channels that we are broadcasting on tonight: Motorsport.tv, Esports Television Network, and TVM Sports in Malta. A big thank you as always to our partners and sponsors: Gaming Malta, AMD, HyperX, where we're all gamers, GT Omega Racing, and Thrustmaster. So the DTM has been around for the best part of well over 3 and a bit decades. It now runs under current GT3 regulations, which has been rather interesting to say the very least. I haven't really managed to catch an eye of what the DTM's been doing this year, but I'll be interested to keep an eye on it from next season onwards. It's a real shame that Class 1 wasn't able to carry on like we were hoping after 2 years. The thing is that the ITC, which was a part of the DTM back in the mid-1990s, had the same sort of fate befell it, I'm afraid. Very expensive cars, multiple millions of Deutschmarks being put in, or Lira, back in those days when we didn't have euros, being pumped into the works manufacturers' outfits. But with the DTM as it is now, there has been a change in the fact it's privateer teams. So let's go back out on track. Qualifying now underway for DTM Friday. So again, the track temperature and the ambient temperature stay exactly the same. So is Christian Sharp going to take the inaugural pole on DTM Friday here on World Pro Racing? We're going to find out in about 13.5 minutes. So here we go, on board. Let's go on a hot lap with Alex Goncalves up to what is going to be 250 kph, 5th gear, 200, and he... Oh, that's the save and a half. Is he going to save it from going into the barriers? Glance there from Goncalves. And you can see the gears and also the speed being indicated. Also, the big sort of like rotator switch on the right-hand side with what looks to be a clock. That is the brake bias switch. It would normally be rotated by the drivers in the cars, but we're now approaching top speed on the Parabolica. 6th gear, 285 kilometers an hour indicated, and all the way down the gearbox, around 60 kph in first, putting the power down. Now into the next right-hander. This is going to be taken. Will it be taken at full throttle? Yes, it is. 5th gear, 235 kph, down the gearbox once again as the car in front locks up its brakes. Up to 2nd through the S-bends here now. 3rd gear, up to 4th, 200 kph, up to 5th, close to the wall there from Alex Goncalves, who is the fastest driver out on track at the moment. But I think Rui Silva Vieira, who was 2.6 seconds quicker in sector number 1, and not at all surprising with the big save that Alex Goncalves had to make. David Ohak, fastest in sector 2 of 42.577. As Alex Goncalves will set a benchmark of some description. Kirsten Abaya actually did so. It was a 1 minute 32.714. Goncalves finding it rather difficult, but we'll see if he improves. Through into the Einfahrt Parabolica. Now through the exit of it, up to speed, and a little bit of a switch to the left on the rear of the car, but he's up to full speed is Alex Goncalves. David Ohak, the fastest driver out there, at 1 minute 31.778, 4 tenths quicker than Vieira. Down the gearbox into 1st gear, on board with Alex Goncalves. He's up, he's improved on sector 1. It's about 0.13 off of Ohak. Through into the next right-hander, taken at 5th gear. 235 kilometers an hour on the apex, down the gearbox once again into 1st gear. Tight curve taken there, 90 kph, run the car wide. Now through into the S's. Calves is trying to wrestle with the beast, and it's biting back at him at full force with those jaws of its. Through into Mobile 1, 3rd gear 170. Now up towards Sachskurve. Down to 1st gear, tight on the apex. Allow the car to run wide up to 2nd to get a bit more traction. Through 3rd, now 4th, into the penultimate right-hander, through into Sudkurve. He's 1.3 seconds down, but he's going to come out of the final corner. And Alex Goncalves, what's the time going to be? 1 minute 34.291 puts him P9, but it is David Ohak at the moment that is fastest out there. Alex Trehorn, 3rd at the moment, on a 1 minute 32.331. Kirsten Abaya. Max Carrion goes P10 with that effort, a 1 minute 34.450. Here comes Stephen Johnson. He's just under a tenth and a half behind in sector 1, just over 0.56 of a second behind in sector 2. As Ruiz Silva Vieira has gone quicker still, 3 tenths is the gap. Stephen Johnson, he's 13th at the moment, but he's going to put in his first respective lap time. What's it going to be? 1 minute 33.123. That puts him into 8th place as he launches it over the curbs through Nordkurve. Here's David Ohak, your provisional pole sitter, with 9.25 minutes still to go, as he flings it through Nordkurve. A short blast down to the Einfahrt Parabolica. So at the moment it's David Ohak from Ruiz Silva Vieira, Alex Trehorn, Christian Sharp, Kirsten Abaya, Silva Piermetz in 6th ahead of Joao Garapal, Stephen Johnson, Colin Foster up to 9th, Alex Goncalves, Max Carrion, Daryl Russell, Dirk Oost. We've got no times yet from Odin Samut. Odin Samut has just put in a 20.8 on sector 1, but Alex Trehorn has lit up the timing sheets purple, a 19.842 second first sector. We've got a yellow out in sector 2. That might have been because of Trehorn. There's Abaya trail braking a little bit there. He smoked up the rears, did Kirsten, and has managed to get it back out on song. Could have lost a bit of time in sector 2. Yeah, that's a considerable amount. Nearly 1.4 seconds is the deficit, and runs wide. Oh, that's going through Mobile 1. And, oh, he's done a Sebastian Vettel. I was hoping no one was going to do that, but it's not wet, it's dry. He just couldn't stop it in time, and it was all... Yeah, it was all done and dusted. Silver Pinamets, the Estonian up in, is currently P6. He's done a personal best in Sector 1. And that is of a 20.235. That's quicker than David Ohak's current first sector. And also, considerable amount quicker than Christian Sharp, who was fastest in free practice. Silver Pinamets has now gone purple in Sector 2. Fastest of anybody. 42.564. So this and one more corner remains for Silver Pinamets. So the time to beat, 1 minute 31.778. Yellow Ants in Sector 2 with 7.25 minutes to go. Pinamets crosses the line. 1 minute 32.129 up into P3. That's a great effort there. But Ruiz Silva Vallera is gunning for provisional pole. He's 2/10 up in Sector 1 and he goes sideways. That's lost him time. Probably to the tune of about 2 to 3 tenths as Yellow Ants in Sector 2. But all that hard work in Sector 1 quite quickly undone. And Luis Silva Vallera was not happy. He's reset. And he's hit the escape button and gone back to the garage. So 15 of the 16 drivers have set lap times. Daniele D'Onofrio has not set a lap time just yet. So may opt to start from the back of the grid. We have got a dual file rolling start for our 20 lap race, which will last approximately 30 to 45 minutes. Max Carrion, 7/10 down in Sector 1. And, oh! Yeah. Not what he wanted right there, was it? Joao Carapau, currently P6 at the moment. Nearly 7.5 tenths off of David Ohak, who has been, well, the closest challengers have been Silva Pinamets and Ruiz Silva Vallera. Did I just hear someone just had a massive smack in the wall? Don't tell me. Ah, that was... As soon as you hear a bang like that, you know that something bad has happened. And that is just personified right there here at Hockenheim. Alex Trehorn. Oh, now things are getting interesting. Trehorn. He's going to come out of the final corner. He's up by over a tenth and a bit. Out of the final corner, Alex Trehorn. Will he go provisional pole? He doesn't. He loses 3 tenths in the final sector, but that puts him P2. And he nigh on leveled up. He nigh on leveled up to the same time that he got in practice earlier on. But David Ohak, 0.221 up in Sector 1. He's gone purple. There's a yellow in Sector 2 again, so that could foil Ohak's lap. It's quickly retracted. 4.5 minutes to go in the session. Colin Foster is now within 2 seconds of Ohak. Ohak crosses into Sector 2 and is nearly 3 tenths down. He may cover a little bit of time. Trehorn lost a bag full of time in Sector 3, but Ohak has been pretty good through it so far in this qualifying session. Out of the final corner, what's it going to be? Oh, well, he clawed back some time there within 7/100ths of his fastest lap as he sends it through Nordkurve once again. Now he goes through the Einfahrt Parabolica. And he's up by a tenth in Sector 1. Well, he was 2 tenths up in Sector 1 last time around. He's just got to get things a little bit more neater and tidier in Sector 2. Well, He was up in Sector 2, but it's Sector 3 where he really needs to put in the hard work. The top 3 covered by exactly 3/10. Silver Pyramids on cue has gone quicker than anybody. Now Ohak has to respond. Silver Pyramids at 1 minute 31.684 with 3 minutes on the clock to go. David Ohak, he knew that he did not have a great lap there. Straight away, he knew that it was not going to be a clean lap. That just goes to show when you're pushing that hard, that's how much things can change. Christian Sharp currently sitting in P3 at 1. So the top 4, ladies and gentlemen, have gone into the sub 1 minute 32s. Alex Trahorn being the 4th and final driver that has done so, 1 minute 31.956. 131.889 for this driver here, Christian Sharp, who currently rounds out P3. David Ohak, by 94 thousandths of a second, is down in P2 at the moment, as there is a car adrift through where Christian Sharp has just gone through. So the yellows were called out. And Silver Pyramids, 1 minute 31.684. And the highest top speed of any driver, Alex Goncalves, down in 10th position. Goncalves was towards the sharper end of the qualifying grid. But unfortunately, it's not worked out for him. So we are heading into the final couple of moments of this session. Daniele D'Onofrio has yet to set a respective lap time this evening, as Daniele D'Onofrio has just had the biggest Code Brown moment I think I've ever seen on World Pro Racing. But in the meantime, Ruiz Silva Vallera has just put in the fastest first sector of anybody. This is his final chance. He's done a 19.831 second first sector, so up by 2.5 tenths. He's got to be a little bit more brash, a little bit more aggressive through the second sector, as he now heads towards Mobile 1 for what will be the final time. He's up on his personal best in Sector 2. It was a 42.361. Vieira now hard on the brakes heading into Sachs Curva. First gear, short shift up to second to get the traction. Yellow in Sector 2 as the timer is about to hit 0 momentarily. But Ruiz Silva Vallera, can he put himself on either pole or at the sharper end of the grid? He's in P5 at the moment. Out of the Sud Curva he comes. Vieira puts down the power as the checker flag is out. He goes provisional pole. What a lap time. 1 minute 31.379. Can you believe that? On cue, Ruiz Silva Vallera has put himself in completely the right position for tonight's 20-lap race as the checkered is out. Well, would you believe it? Silver Pyramids pushing too hard was down in Sector 1 and Sector 2. And I think that's going to conclude the session. At least Daniele D'Onofrio has managed to set a lap time. But comes out of the final corner, and Kirsten Abaya going sideways through Sachs Curva. I think that is it for the session. But Ruiz Silva Vallera. What a lap. What a lap. That was brilliant. As Abaya crosses the line, that really concludes the session. But Ruiz Silva Vallera did it at exactly the right moments in the session, right at the death. 1 minute 31.379. 3 tenths quicker than Silver Pyramids, with David Ohak rounding out the top 3. Christian Sharp, fastest in free practice, not fastest in qualifying, however. Half a second down in 4th. Fractionally ahead by 68 thousandths of a second ahead of Alex Trahorn, Joao Carapau, Dennis Berens running at the top 7. Kirsten Abaya in 8th, ahead of Stephen Johnson, with Alex Goncalves completing the top 10. So, rounding out that will be Colin Foster, Max Carrion, Derek Oost, Daryl Russell, Odin Summit, and Daniele Donofrio. With that in mind, we're going to go to a break here on World Pro Racing. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you very soon indeed for the race for DTM Friday.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Senna was a god. No one could even dream to follow him.
I'm from a very humble background.
The role of women at that time were really difficult.
This is so dangerous. You are risking not only your life, but also my life.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Well, welcome back to DTM Friday here on World Pro Racing with myself, Alex Goldschmidt. We've had our free practice session, we've had our qualifying, and it's almost time to get down to business. A 20-lap race around the 4.574 kilometer Hockenheim ring, based in the Baden-Württemberg region in Germany. And we have got around about a couple of minutes until we go back racing. So big thank you to everyone watching on all our relevant live streams on Facebook Live, on Twitch, on YouTube. Also our viewers on the Esports television network, motorsport.tv and TVM Sport in Malta. Big thank you as always to all the partners and sponsors that help make this happen every single time, whether it's here, online, or whether it's down at our facility in Malta. Gaming Malta, AMD, HyperX, where we're all gamers, GTM Mega Racing, and Thrustmaster. So you might be thinking, now that we're back to casual racing, what can we expect in store? Well, just keep your eyes on our official website, worldproracing.com, for further information. We do casual races and championships on R-Factor 2, Gran Turismo Sport, and Assetto Corsa Competizione, amongst other platforms here on this very, very particular channel itself. So it was Ruiz Silva Vieira that stormed to pole on his final attempt at the Hockenheim Ring, and Silva Pirmets. They're going to be on the front row for the dual file rolling start formation. Now, for those that are uninitiated in the bigger world of motorsport that have just joined us for the very first time this evening, a little bit of a brief educational lesson. Dual file rolling starts are basically when you have the drivers lined up and they are literally at a crawl. The minute the lights go out, they go full throttle, herring their way into turn one. And this is going to be rather interesting. Now, this is a flat-out sprint. This isn't the 55-minute plus one additional lap with a mandatory pit stop that the DTM currently employs. There's normally two what they call sprint races over in Germany. I've followed the DTM since 2012, and the format has evolved over time. And we are just literally a few seconds away from seeing what is going to happen. Who's going to go through the Nordkurve first? Are we going to have some first lap hijinks? Is everyone going to keep it nice and clean? Are we going to have plenty of side-by-side battling? Well, we will find out very, very soon indeed when we can go trackside here at the Hockenheim link. Fantastic circuit. I visited it, I think, if memory serves me correctly, I visited it 2 or 3 times in my DTM journalistic endeavours. I also visited the DTM at Zandvoort back in 2013 when Augusto Farfus won the race and Mike Rockenfeller took his only title. Other championship winners, Matthias Ekström, Timo Scheider, Martin Tomczyk, to name but just a few. So 20 laps will see us have the first ever DTM Friday get underway very, very shortly. I'm very, very excited. As the Germans would say, Gänsehaut pur. I've got goosebumps quite literally on my forearms right now because the cars sound great, they look great. We've got some great competitors here as well. So let's see if we can hopefully go trackside for the race itself. It's going to be a 20 lap encounter. And there we are. Oh, that's interesting. Luis Silva Vieira's in the pits. Not too sure whether... there we go. So, we do have a pace car, and that will lead the field away around the circuit. So, quite a lot of horsepower here. We'll have 16 BMW M4 G80 derivatives roaring around this circuit. And that is just shy of 9,300 horsepower. So who are your bets on for tonight? Because here is your grid. Pole position, Luis Silva Vieira, 1 minute 31.379 in the qualifying session a bit earlier on. Silva Pirmets will be alongside. Then it's David Ohak and Christian Sharp. That is row number 2. Row 3, it is Alex Trehorn. And alongside will be João Carapau. Then Dennis Berens and Kirsten Abaya. That is an all red and white with a bit of grey thrown in the mix. Row number 4. Completing the top 10, it is Stephen Johnson and Alex Goncalves. Colin Foster and Max Carrion rounding out the top 6 rows. Foster running at the World Pro Racing Centre in Malta. Dirk Oost, Darrell Russell, Odin Samut, who's also at the centre, and Daniele Donofrio rounding out the 16-strong grid. Now making their way through the Parabolica. Once the pace car goes in, it will be effectively down to Luis Silva Vieira and Silva Pirmets to control the pace. This brings me back to my karting days. A rolling start, 2x2, hurrah, and off we go into the distance. Drivers will now be weaving from side to side a little bit here, just to get some additional couple of degrees or so in the tyres, which will then heat the carbon ceramic brakes on these fantastic looking BMW M4 DTM Class 1 machineries. 16 of them, nearly 9,300 horsepower, 20 laps of this 4.574 kilometre circuit to be negotiated. Now is the time to get into formation because, oh, Stephen Johnson's ended up in the pits, so he's going to be starting right at the very back. So there is going to be a gap where Stephen Johnson is. Into Mobile 1. Field gets led in by the pace car. And the tension builds. The anticipation rises. The adrenaline going through the roof here at the Hockenheim Ring Baden-Württemberg circuit in Germany. It's Luis Silva Vieira and Silva Pirmets on the front row. Pace car will now be heading into pit lane as we're about to get things underway. 20 laps of the circuit here on DTM Friday on World Pro Racing. And are we off and ready? We are. Revs up and go. And into Nord cover for the first time. Pirmets looking to get the inside run on Vieira, but Ohak looking around the outside. Samet's already got a penalty. Must have been for a jump start there. And there's already one car into the barriers. As they head through into the Einfahrt Parabolica for the first time, it's Ruiz Silva Vieira, Silva Pirmets, David Ohak, Christian Sharp. There's Alex Goncalves, who has made up a position, is ahead of Max Carrion. And that could possibly be that Odin Samutai Fear has been hard into the barriers. Through to the hairpin for the first time. Spitzkercher. As there is a move being attempted. That is Trehorn on Sharp. And Trehorn's gone on up the inside. That's a great move from Alex Trehorn as we ride on board the roof cam. Heading into the next right-hander, 230 kilometers an hour at 5th gear. Hard on the brakes into first, into the next left-hander. Linsenberg saying, come on, Steve Johnson. Well, Steve Johnson has got some work to do. He's got to do a top gear from the rear. But Alex Trehorn is now starting to close on David Ohak as they filter their way through Mobile 1 for the first of 20 laps. Here at the Hockenheim ring, sideways there from Trehorn. And all of a sudden, Christian Sharp looked to get the advantage going through into Sachs-Curve. Wide line taken by Trehorn, lights up the rear tyres. And Sharp has to slot back in behind as they go through the S's. Here into the double right at Sud-Curve. There's Colin Foster, and that looks to be Donofrio just behind. Steve Johnson now already up into what is 13th position. But Ruiz Silva Vieira, Silva Pirmets and David Ohak leading the way. There's a yellow out in Sector 3. Lap 2 of 20. Let's have a look at the replay here. And this is Odin Samut. That's going through the Einfahrt Parabolica. Oh no, that's coming out of the Sud-Curve. Puts the power down. This is on the rolling start, so just keep your eyes on this at the minute. And, oh yeah, well that was a clear, blatant jump start right there. He mistimed it completely. And then gets squeezed. Oh, and he gets tagged. And that would have been from Colin Foster, I believe. But Odin Samut made a run for his own back there. We go back trackside. David Ohak is being closed in on by Alex Trehorn. Trehorn's fastest in Sector 1 of anybody, 20.361. That drag, that toe is really helping him at the minute. Luis Silva Vieira leading the way by just under 7/10 from Silva Pirmets. And Silva Vieira set the fastest lap of the race on lap 1 out of 20. 1 minute 36.160. Yellow out again in Sector 1. And Odin Samut, unfortunately, is a retirement. Things are looking a bit closer. This is a 20-lap sprint race. Joao Carapau being left in the doldrums a little bit, courtesy of Christian Sharp, who is 1.5 seconds up the road. Joao Carapau being closed on. We've got a yellow ounce in Sector 2, so whether someone else has had a bit of a off-track excursion. Oh no! Was that Christian Sharp? That was coming out of the final corner, and he's dumped it. Oh, that's not the best rejoin, I'm afraid, there. Oh my goodness, Christian Sharp's evening has gone very, very bad indeed. Losing it out of the back end. Looking at the replay here. Now this is coming through the S's. It's the Einfahrt Parabolica. And oh my goodness me, you can just see how. So Steve Johnson is now actually in the pits. So Steve Johnson is in the pit lane. So probably for repairing some damage. Yellow ounce in Sector 2. But Ruiz Silva Vieira, Colin Foster also in the pits. Max Carrion is a DNF. So we've already got 2 drivers fallen by the wayside. They've been swept under the proverbial carpet. As we're fast approaching the conclusion. Well, we're about halfway through lap number 3 out of 20. Yellow ounce in Sector number 2. That could be for Daniele Donofrio. There's a lap off the leader. He's now making his way through Sachs-Curve. Into the left, into the right. Silva Pirmets is trying to close in. Alex Trehorn is fastest of anybody. 1 minute 33.164 into Nord Curve. Oh, that's committed from Silva Pirmets. Yellow ounce in Sector 2 again. We'll stay on board for a moment with Silva Pirmets into the Einfahrt Parabolica. There is David Ohak, and Alex Trahorn is closing up significantly right now. But the fastest out in sector number 2 at the moment is sector 3 was David Ohak. Alex Trahorn is the quickest in sector number 1. Here's a replay. Max Carrion. As for the Einfahrt Parabolica. Puts the power down. What happens here? Comes out of the corner. Through into the Parabolica. Oh. Now, that was Daniele Donofrio, who looks to have stopped on the side. And Carrion lost the left front wheel, and the car rolled over. He's now out of the race, I'm afraid. Oh, Silver Pimas, that's a lock-up he didn't need, because now here comes David Ohak, closing in on the Estonian. Yellow out in sector number 2. Drivers are pushing the limits in these M4 DTM Class 1 cars. So, a big thank you to Studio 397 for bringing this mod to R Factor 2. But at the moment, we are now on to what will be lap number 5 out of 20. Luis Silva Vieira has extended a lead to the tune of a considerable margin. Kirsten Abaya is now ahead of Dennis Berens. But Luis Silva Vieira leads by just over 1.4 seconds ahead of Silva Pimetz, who is coming under fire. Close crossfire. Warning shots have been fired by David Ohak. And there they are, second and third place through the Parabolica on lap number 5 out of 20. And the good thing is David Ohak will get a real good slipstream. And he looks to the inside of the Spitzkehr, but thinks better of it. If he gets through in the next lap or two, he'll probably have a better opportunity. And at the moment, well, Alex Trahorn has lost a bag full of time and has dropped behind Joao Carapau. So Carapau now up into P5. Bimis and Ohak battling like two petulant children, arguing over the last swing of the playground. And Ohak is close. He can sense that he's got an opportunity into Mobile 1. I have seen overtakes happen through there, but it's very, very tight to do so. Through into Sachskurve. Ohak's just got to wait. I think through the Parabolica and into the Spitzkehr next time, as long as Ohak keeps with him. Abaya is now in 5th, ahead of Alex Trahorn. Trahorn, I'm wondering if that car's got damage. And Kirsten Abaya is ahead of this trio of the same livery cars. So Kirsten Abaya sits in P5. He's 1.9 seconds away from Joao Carapau, as Kirsten Abaya staying in 5th place for the minute. Silva Pirmetz now has David Ohak. Yellow out in sector number 3. Daniele Donofrio has also retired. So we are down to 13 runners and riders. Ohak is not close enough. He needs to be closer than that. Highest top speed of any driver at the moment. I have seen 285 kilometres an hour, and that is from the driver in 3rd place at the moment. Looks like we're going to have some penalties coming through imminently, courtesy of our FIA accredited race director Adrian Figalo. Donofrio has just blown his engine. That's why he's retired. Thank you, Adrian. Both him and George Muscat, as always, exemplary race direction. And they are also real-life race stewards in their own right. But Ruiz Silva Vieira now has a 2-second lead as we are on to lap number 6 out of 20. But the real battle here, 2nd and 3rd, is going to be the more contentious one. Because Silva Pirmetz trying to keep ahead of David Ohak. Across the line they go. And, oh, that was a good run there from David Ohak. Goes towards the outside, through into the Einfahrt Parabolica. Oh, don't tell me he's going to put it there. He is. That is one hell of a move. You pulled that off, David Ohak. But look at Silva Pirmetz. Gets the traction down early. David Ohak looks towards the inside of the Parabolica. That's the closest that Ohak has been in terms of proximity to Silver Pimex. And Ohak, don't tell me he's going to outbrake himself going into the hairpin, into the Spitzkehr. Ohak runs wide, runs very, very deep, coming out of the corner, and he's lost all that momentum. Oh, he's got to do that all again. Meine Güte, as they would say in Germany. My goodness. So Silver Pimex has probably the best part of about a 9/10 of a second advantage. Alex Trahorn, in the meantime, is now sitting in 5th position. He's ahead of Kirsten Abaya. So Trahorn, who was 5th in qualifying, is in the position where he started from earlier on. So we've had three DNFs so far, unfortunately. Max Carrion, due to a massive rollover and then losing a wheel. Daniele Donofrio blowing his engine. And Odin Samut DNFing very early on by hitting the wall. These drivers seem to be taking a little bit of a liberty going through the exit of the Nordkurve. First lap in DTM rules saying that turn 1, it's open season. Anything after that, you will get pinged. But Ruiz Silva Vallera has kept his nose clean. Looks like David Ohak is trying to close on in to Silver Pimex. Well, the thing was, last lap around, Pimex did a 1 minute 35.562. David Ohak was nearly 0.8 of a second slower on that particular occasion, so a 1 minute 36.343 for him. And a little bit better through Mobile 1 for David Ohak, as Silver Pimex looks to be losing a little bit of time. Ohak did a 20.7. He was half a second quicker in Sector 1. They were pretty much comparable on time in Sector 2, but they're about to come out of the Südkurve as we go on to lap number 9 out of 20. And Ohak's got a good run as Pimex gets a bit twitchy going through into the Nordkurve, but they both make it through nice and cleanly. Ohak's in the tow. Is he going to look to the inside through the Einfahrt Parabolica? He is on this particular occasion, but he has to back out of it. Let Pimex go through. Pimex loses a bit of traction going through the Einfahrt Parabolica. Manages to keep ahead of Ohak for the moment. But in the meantime, this is allowing João Carapau to close in ever so slightly. Because João Carapau did a 1 minute 34.874, Ohak a 1 minute 34.668, Silver Pimex was nearly a second slower, 1 minute 35.635 in comparison with David Ohak. So Ohak now has a second bite of the cherry, so to speak. Through into the next left, a little bit of lock up under brakes from Pimex. That allows Ohak to close up under the braking through the S's. Right on board the roof cam of David Ohak. Now heading into Mobile 1. 5th gear, 230 plus kilometers an hour. Through into the Sachskurve. Oh, little dip into the gravel on the left rear for Pimex as Ohak up the inside, and he touches. Sideways goes Ohak, but he manages to just get through and now takes second position. And Pimex is now saying, hang on a second, Sunshine, that was a bit robust. And Ohak obliges, but Ohak's just opened the door for Carapau! Mamma mia! What on earth? Ohak decides to bump over the sausage curb. That unsettled the back end of his car, and now it's brought in João Carapau into 4th position. And now into the battle for the second step on the virtual rostrum. Here we go again. Ohak looking up the inside of Pimex going to the Einfahrt Parabolica. But now you've got to keep your eyes on who's behind. Alex Trahorn is closing. Trahorn's the 2.5 behind this battle. After this lap, we'll be halfway through this race. Through into the Spitzkehrer. As it's 3 abreast! It's 3 abreast! And there's a tag! There's a big tag! Oh my goodness! Ohak and Carapau. That was not. I mean, the thing was, the move was on between Ohak and Pirmet, but Carapau, I think, had no real business. I mean, saw the gap, thought it was on, and it just goes to show that you can... I mean, it was Carapau that tried to make the move on Ohak, and Ohak responded, and then Pirmet has just gone, thank you very much, and Alex Trehorn's just been given a Christmas present. So that is where things can go awry. So now we are at the halfway point of this race. 10 laps are completed. We go on to lap number 11. Yeah, yikes, Q on YouTube. I've seen it get worse than that in DTM, and I have seen that kind of manoeuvre, that kind of three-way scrap be pulled off successfully. But what this has meant is that David Ohak now finds himself in 8th place, behind João Carapau. So David Ohak, I know, will be fuming to bursting point. Carapau will just say, well, hang on, the move was on. But it's not my decision to make on that one, boys and girls, because it's down to our race direction. So things have changed, but Rui Silva Vallera still leads this time with a 6.3 second gap over Estonia's Silva Pirmets. There's the leader right there. Alex Trehorn now must have been counting his chickens before they hatched a little bit earlier on, when that incident transpired in front of him. But Rui Silva Vallera is leading the way quite considerably. I see that we've got 18 viewers on the YouTube stream at the moment. Thank you very much to everyone for joining us. It has been rather enthralling, as here is the battle between Kirsten Abaya and Alex Goncalves. And this is for 5th on the road, so a new battle to fixate our vision on this evening. Pair were covered by just over 4/10. So we're going to have a look at the replay. Now this is a replay from actually a bit earlier on. So this is when Carapau went for the move, Ohak responded, and there was the slightest of touches, and then the domino effect happened when Pirmets had nowhere really to go. Carapau went to his immediate left, and then Pirmets tagged Carapau, who then in turn spun around. David Ohak has now Goncalves up the outside, through into the Spitzkehrer. And that's a whoopsie there. Alex Goncalves needs a bit of a clean-up on aisle 3. Probably new virtual Nomex after that one. That's a tank slapper and a half when you put the power down like that, coming out of the hairpin, the Spitzkehrer. There's João Carapau. He's trying to close in on Goncalves, funnily enough, and Goncalves and Ohak, well, Carapau and Ohak are starting to get up to full racing speed. Alex Trehorn now being pressurised, and it's from Dennis Berens. As Berens, that's a send and a half there, through into the chicane, and Alex Trehorn keeps ahead for the minute. Dennis Berens has got a bit of bravado and a bit of some cojones too, as Alex Trehorn bumps over the sausage curbs. And Berens ends up into 3rd place. Oh, there are more twists and turns in this tale than the never-ending story. And we're not done yet. Lap number 13 out of 20. Silva Vallera's got a bit of an extensive lead, 7.5 seconds. Keep your eye on Berens. He's running in the 1 minute 35.9s. Alex Trehorn's off-track excursion cost him 2 seconds. Put in a 1 minute 37.497. João Carapau's been running in the 138s. As this is getting feisty. Here we go again. Goncalves in the tow. Looks to the outside, going through into the hairpin. as that means that Abaya's got the inside run. Will there be a switch back here? Oh, that's nicely timed. Nicely timed by Alex Goncalves, but couldn't get through. Brilliant battling between these two here. Battle for 5th and 6th, well and truly alive. And Goncalves is not finished yet. Abaya has got to... oh, Abaya's not having a good run there. Nearly clips the wall going through into Mobile 1. So it's getting rather close, nip and tuck between these two. Going through Saxkurva, they're nearly side by side again. Going through into the chicane before the double right here at Sudkurva. So Goncalves has to just keep it patient. Not make any unforced errors, because just behind that is David Ohak. And Ohak is up to speed. 1 minute 36.1. Previous lap was 1:35.6. Says, oh, that's a bit of a run wide there. Abaya's nearly opened the door well and truly for Goncalves, who goes through towards the inside. The pair clash going into the Einfahrt Parabolica. Oh, and Abaya goes tail happy as a result of that clash. Goncalves towards the outside. Very close between the pair, but Alex Goncalves gets up into 5th position. We're on lap number 14 out of 20. So at the moment, running order as you see. Well, Alex Trehorn is back on the back bumper of Dennis Berens. That's the battle for 3rd place. Trehorn made a bit of a faux pas going through the Sudkurva on the previous lap. Don't forget to join us at worldproracing.com. And I've just been informed that the incident between João Carapau and David Ohak was a racing incident. A good judgment call there by race control. So, if there was any investigation and there would have been a result as a direct answer of it, then I would have been informed directly. Dennis Berens has still got. Now, look at what's happening here. Silver Piermetz has been running in the 135.7s, but Berens and Trehorn in the 135.1s. We're on board with Kirsten Abaya now. You can see the rear view camera has got in the crosshairs David Ohak, and there is Alex Goncalves just up in front through Nordkurve. Just see, you can just hear how much these drivers are working with the throttle and the brake pedal inputs, the modulation as well through certain corners. All bit sideways through the Einfahrt Parabolica for Abaya. That could have allowed Ohak to close, and Ohak was actually quicker in sector 3 by 0.3 of a second last time round. Down into the Spitzkau. Oh, lock up from Goncalves, full lock from Abaya. When he puts the power down, the back end steps out to the left-hand side. Lap 15 out of 20. And when Luis Silva Vieira crosses the line, we'll have 5 to go. Oh, now, interesting. Doug Oost, I think, has just gone into the pit lane. And has ended up in 11th place. So things are continuing out. We've had a yellow out in sector number 2. As all lock up from Pyramids. Berens and Trehorn. Oh, Berens got very feisty. Looking up the inside of Saxkurva. We ride on the roof cam with the car in 3rd position. Through the Sudkurva. Oh, Dennis Berens sends it up the inside. Here comes Alex Trehorn and loses the back end, allowing Silva Piermetz to retake 3rd position. 5 laps to go. So we're back on board this time with Alex Trehorn through Nordkurve. Alex Trehorn a fraction away from getting a rostrum here tonight. Through into the Einfahrt Parabolica again. Another lock up from Piermetz. That opens the door. Trehorn gets through into the right-hander before the left that puts them onto the Parabolica. So Silva Piermetz was soaking up the pressure like a sponge, but ended up being on the wrong end of the stick, so to speak, as there's been a bit of a change a little bit further back. As David Ohak now going after Kirsten Abaya. João Carapau and Alex Goncalves ran out the top 8. Berens has got a penalty. Oh dear, Dennis Berens has got a penalty, and that will promote Alex Trehorn to second position. I would imagine that's for track limits. Trayvon's just got to watch his P's and Q's right now. So Berens is going to have to serve that penalty. That's not going to please him. Through into Mobile 1. Trayvon right with him. Trayvon doesn't need to get feisty behind Berens, because what the second place driver will have to do is pull it into the pit lane as Ruiz Silva Vallera goes on to lap number 17 of this race. And Berens still stays out. Oh, we've had another DNF, and I think that is Christian Sharp. So might have been the cause of the yellow in Sector 3. So an instant DNF. That's a real shame. Christian Sharp, fastest in free practice, and ended up 4th in qualifying. Trayvon looking to the inside. Ohak now closing in on what could be 4th place. As there's Carapal. They're at it again. They're like two little children on the swing in the playground. As, oh, that was close. Ohak nearly went into the back end of Kirsten Abaya, and that's allowed the door to be opened for Joao Carapal. And Joao Carapal round the outside of the exit of the Einfahrt Parabolica. Brilliant anticipation there. Ohak just using the slipstream as much as he can. 284 kilometres an hour as Carapal sends it up the inside of Abaya. And here comes Ohak. Oh, it's 3-1 again. Oh, my goodness. Once bitten, twice shy, they say. Is it side by side between Abaya and Carapal? Carapal runs wide. Ohak gets through to get up into P5. So this is actually for a genuine P3. The reason being is Dennis Berens has got a penalty which he needs to serve. You can see the picture-in-picture as they go through Mobile 1. A bit of a lift off there from David Ohak because he doesn't want to go steamrolling in. Go into the back of Kirsten Abaya, which he taps the back end of the car in front. Going through Sachs Curva. Through into Sudkurva. And it could be that Ohak gets a good run. All sideways from Abaya going through the final corner. And so does Ohak. He's wrestling with the back end of that M4. So on to lap number 18 out of 20. 3 to go, including this one. It has been absolutely brilliant action all the way through tonight. It's 20 lap races. There goes Carapal up the inside of Ohak through the Einfahrt Parabolica. But Ohak's got the inside run for the next left-hander. Oh, they touch again. Carapal just turned on in. I think that could be classed possibly as a racing incident. I'll say that the jury's out on that one. Ohak will not give up. Berens still hasn't served that penalty yet as Ohak sends it up the inside of Carapal. Oh, that was a definite DTM block right there. He just went, you want to do that to me, mate? I'll get... yeah, karma. Karma is what I'm going to say about that one. Well, David Ohak was fired up and he just decided to park it where he felt like it, and Carapal had no other alternative with what happened there. But never mind. So our leader, Ruiz Silva Vallera, is about to come across the line to start the 19th and penultimate lap. David Ohak trying to close in on Kirsten Abaya. So 13 to go. Berens serves the penalty, so that now promotes Trayvon up to second. Kirsten Abaya up to third place, who will cross the line very shortly. There is your race leader, who has been leading from lights out. Started things 18 and a half laps to go. 18 and a half laps to go. We're on lap number 19 out of 20. Luis Silva Vallera has not been touched at all in this race. He put the cat amongst the pigeons in qualifying by taking pole by over 0.3 of a second, and he is less than a lap and a half away from winning the inaugural DTM Friday event here, Casual R Factor 2 event here on World Pro Racing. Big thank you to everyone that has joined us here tonight. Into Mobile 1. He knows that he's got enough of a gap just to take it a little bit easy. There's Luis Silva Vallera. Yellow out in Sector 2. Oh, that sounds ominous. In this latter stage of the race, because well, David Ohak in the meantime has got past Kirsten Abaya for third place. So Ohak up into P3. Last lap. Here we go. Luis Silva Vallera has had nothing to challenge him. No one to be at his door, banging it down with a hammer fist. He's done exactly the job that he's needed to, and his lead is quite substantial. Best part of nearly 13 seconds as his BMW M4 DTM Class 1 heads into the Spitzkehr for the 20th and final time. Up the gears, through into the next right-hander he goes. Into the left, and then the little chicane complex here will bring them onto the next part of the circuit. Mobile 1 is his next destination. And through into the Sachskurve for the last time. David Ohak and Joao Carapau are 7.5 tenths of a second adrift, so hopefully we might be able to switch back to them once our winner has crossed the line. 20 laps of the 4.574 kilometre circuit have been dominated convincingly by this driver here. Luis Silva Vallera takes the checkered flag here at the Hockenheim ring, and it's all kicking off behind. Trehorn's going to take second place very shortly. David Ohak has got a grab of third in the dying stages because Kirsten Abaya has ended up in fifth place. Joao Carapau, who started sixth, will end up fourth. Kirsten Abaya started eighth and finished in fifth. It could have been a top three for him. Dennis Berens will take sixth place at the end of it all, ahead of Alex Goncalves, who completes the top seven. It was a lot to ask of Silva Pirmets, who will cross the line very, very shortly in eighth place, ahead of Derek Oost. Darrell Russell, with Stephen Johnson and Colin Foster, the last of the 12 classified finishers, with retirements from Christian Sharp, Max Carrion, Daniele Donofrio, who blew his engine earlier in the race, and Odin Samut, who hit the barriers out of Nordkurve, as Stephen Johnson goes tail happy, sideways to the left he does, coming out of the final corner. And there is Colin Foster, one of two drivers. Colin has stuck it out right up until the end of the race itself. He's one of two drivers, along with Odin Samut, that has been at the World Pro Racing facility in Malta. And Colin Foster comes out of the final corner and takes the checkered to be the last of the classified finishers. But Luis Silva Vallera wins here at the Hockenheim ring on DTM Friday. So there you have it. 20 laps of a 4.574 kilometre circuit to open hopefully what will be the first of many races using the Class 1 BMW M4 DTM. Luis Silva Vallera wins by 16 seconds ahead of Alex Trehorn and David Ohak, who are our provisional top three. I haven't had any notification from Race Control if there are any amended penalties post-race, but hopefully very soon we'll have some interviews, hopefully with our top three, very, very shortly indeed. As always, a big thank you for everyone that has been watching all the way through tonight. A big thank you to our partners and sponsors, Thrustmaster, GT Omega Racing, HyperX, where we're all gamers, AMD, and Gaming Malta. And realistically, when I heard that DTM Friday was coming along, I had to be the first one to jump on the gravy train. To hear those 2-litre inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engines roar around Hockenheim. Well, Germany is my second home, effectively. I am a dual national. You can see by my surname, it's part German, part Jewish as well. I do have a German passport, so the next time I hopefully get to go to the Hockenheim ring, will be to watch the DTM in action. So hopefully very soon we'll have our top 3 joining us very, very shortly indeed. But what did you think of the race? Did you think that the DTM is a welcome addition to R Factor 2? Well, if you're someone like me, yes, it is. It's a great amount of effort that Studio 397 and R Factor 2 have managed to bring this to fruition and to make another car available to the masses. It's added a different dynamic to us here on World Pro Racing. Don't forget you can follow us on all the relevant social media channels. There is our new facility. A significant amount of euros have been pumped into it, and a great job by the team at World Pro Racing, Adrian Figalo, Justin Mifsud, Nathan Vella, and the whole team behind the scenes that have really done a fantastic job. Still waiting for our interviewees. Hang on a second. Right, well, I think we've got one driver that is going to be good to speak to. Good evening, João Carapau.
Hi.
That was a very, very interesting race, to say the very least, wasn't it? I mean, the biggest talking point was you're battling with David Ohack all the way through. We had that battle between yourself and... so it looks like you have become our third place finisher because David Ohack got given a 5-second penalty post-race. So congratulations, first of all. I mean, how are you feeling?
Yeah, well, good. I need to check I need to see the replay. I was actually not so happy when I touched David on the hairpin. It just braked way too early. There was nowhere to go, so I had to take the inside, and then I think there was just no space, and he ended up spinning. So I waited for him, but yeah, I mean, yeah, he was facing the wrong direction, so that wasn't very good. But other than that, it was a fun race, and yeah, it was fun.
I mean, really, it's a new car that's joined the stable at R Factor 2. When you first got behind the wheel of the BMW, what were your first thoughts? I mean, I heard from Nathan Mifsud before we went live on air. He said this car is an absolute beast, and I think he wasn't wrong there.
No, he's not wrong. I mean, the car's a handful. It's really tricky to drive, and it's so easy to spin. So yeah, it's a handful. David's absolutely right.
I mean, the reason why David got the 5-second time penalty, I've just been updated by our race director Adrian Figalo that because he didn't give you back the position, he gets a 5-second time penalty, which is why you got promoted. Which was well within the rules. But well done tonight, third place. When DTM Fridays return, I'm sure you're going to be back for more, aren't you?
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, João Carapau, well done tonight. Third place on the rostrum here on the inaugural DTM Friday.
Thanks to you guys.
Alex Trahorn. Well, that was one for the books, wasn't it?
Evening. Yeah, it was entertaining. A few mistakes, a few overtakes, but a fun race, yeah. I
think really, like myself and Joel were talking about a bit earlier on, that the car has been a bit of a handful. I think everyone was pushing, especially in free practice where we saw quite a few yellow first, second and third sectors, and we had just as much calamity in the race. I mean, did you expect that you were going to be starting 5th and end up P2?
To be honest, I had a little incident in quali. I don't know if you saw it, but I got myself some nice track position, and then it was about 20 seconds to go, and then all of a sudden there were cars on outlaps when breaking into the hairpin, so I clowered one of them, and that was quali over. So I think I had a bit more time, but you know, everyone did a good job in quali, and then the race, it's fun. This car is really fun to drive.
It's also great to listen to as well in the meantime, you know, from the commentary position, hearing these turbocharged 2-litre 4-cylinder engines producing nearly 600 brake horsepower. I mean, you're all wrestling with the back end of the car, going through the hairpin was, you know, like literally lighting up the rear tyres was quite enthralling to see from my perspective.
Yeah, almost every corner is like that. It's so much fun. I really hope that maybe you guys at World Pro Racing would consider a series or something with this car, or you know, something similar, because It was a lot of fun, and I think it was an entertaining race for you.
It definitely was. It definitely was indeed, Alex. But well done on second position tonight.
Cheers.
And Alex, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to tonight? Any sponsors, friends, or family?
Since we last spoke, I've had a change of team, so shout out to the team Schmokin and Trev, the boss, for letting me join.
Oh, brilliant. Well, that's really good to hear, Alex, and we'll hopefully see you back again, especially with these DTM cars here on World Pro Racing.
Cheers, thanks.
And finally, we go to our race winner, a comfortable victory, put it on pole by 3/10 and just run away with it. Well done, Rui Silva Vieira. Rui, fantastic job, first of all. Well done, congratulations. How are you feeling?
Hi, Alex. Feeling fine, thank you. I didn't like the car. It was the first time I drove this car, and I was learning the car during the race. It was not the funnest race that I made because I was all the time alone. I earned a gap, and then I tried to manage my tires because that left front I know it will be critical in the end of the race. So I was managing the tires, and it was good.
And I think some people have enjoyed driving this car. Obviously, I think you would have liked to have had a bit more of a few battles, like we were seeing a bit further behind you, the likes of David Orhak, Silva Pirmets, Alex Trehorn. You know, there were quite a few drivers getting some really good battles. I mean, do you think that hopefully next time you can be a part of that?
Yeah, of course. The others will improve, certainly. But I could not wait for them.
bit impatient then, Rui, I take it.
Yes, but the car at the end, the car is funny to drive, and it is a beast. It is a beast. We have to be very, very smooth on the throttle. Yes, all the time.
Rui, before we let you go, are there any people that you'd like to thank? Team sponsors, friends, family, before we let you go?
Thanks to you guys. Thanks to Atlantic. Congratulations to Atlantic, and to my old friends.
Brilliant. Rui, thank you very much, and well done for tonight.
Thank you, Alex. Bye.
So that rounds up the interview section here on the inaugural DTM Friday here on World Pro Racing with myself, Alex Goldschmidt. A big thank you to everyone watching. A big thank you to all our partners and sponsors that have made things happen, such as our brand new facility in Malta, which has had a significant amount of investment and is open to the general public nowadays. So you can actually go to our respective social medias or also to our website at worldproracing.com to find out further information, find out our telephone number, give them a call and get yourselves booked in. Big thank you to Gaming Malta, AMD, HyperX, where we're all gamers, GT Omega Racing, and Thrustmaster, as always. A big thank you to everyone watching on all the respective World Pro Racing streams on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube, and also to our friends watching over at TVM Sport in Malta, Motorsport.tv, and Esports Television. So, from all of us here on World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real, my name's Alex Goldschmidt. Good night, and we'll see you next time.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Senna was a god. No one could even dream to follow him.
I'm from a very humble background.
The role of women at that time were really difficult.
This is so dangerous. You're risking not only your life, but also my life.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.